Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you everybody for showing up on an otherwise terrible night. And we don't have to leave our houses. How's that, Betty Ann? Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Can't.
Very quietly.
Yeah, your audio. Yeah, your audio is off. Not signed off, but can't hear you.
You're gonna have to speak very loudly.
Yeah. Anyway, we have the full. Betty Ann, if we can't hear you when we call for votes, just raise your hand because I haven't heard a word said. Okay, seating of alternates, we don't have any to seat. Public comment once. Public comment twice. Public comment 3 times. Close public comment. Next item up is the approval of last month's meeting. On December 22nd, Monica has distributed it out. I would hope everyone has had a chance to read through it. I will take a motion to accept in a second, then we can have a discussion if there are any edits needed or changes.
Motion to accept the minutes.
Anybody?
Motion.
Second.
Okay. Motion is second. Discussion. Are there any edits, changes to the minutes as presented?
No.
If not, all those in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Chair votes aye. Okay. Report from the finance director. Doug, you're on.
Okay, we've got all the budgets in. They're in the spreadsheet, so I'll be able to send that summary out to everybody. And right now I'm working on the workshops. 90% of everybody has confirmed their dates. We have the police on Monday, Public Works on Wednesday, Board of Ed on the next Monday, and then the other departments for the rest of the month. And
okay, if you can put together a revised schedule with the names of the departments we're going to be talking to on whatever days, and get that out to us, please.
Yeah, I'll get it out tomorrow.
That's fine.
Thank you.
And as far as the current budget, the expenditures are well within the budget. We've had a number of retirements and people who have quit, so we have not refilled any of those positions, so that helps us as far as the expenditure side goes. As far as revenues are, the collections are still doing well. There are some areas where we over budgeted, but we kind of knew we wouldn't meet some of those numbers on the revenue side. But other than that, we're not doing too bad, all things considered.
Okay. Questions for the finance director? Okay,
Yes,
I have a couple which will be addressed in the agenda. Go ahead, Beth.
I have a question. Is there any way we can get a list of what the COVID expenses were for the 2019-20 budget and the 2021-2022 budget?
Yeah, actually, this week and next week, we have to put in all those numbers to the state to justify what we got back from them. So as soon as I get that compiled, I can get it to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Does
Sure.
does that include the Board of Ed numbers, Doug, also? The state wants?
I only have the town numbers. I can inquire with Sherry
Will you
and
please well, do more than inquire, get a list of expenditures
okay.
and the offsetting revenues.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? I have one. We're still waiting on the OPEB report.
No, the report came in, but the auditors are asking questions about it. So they put together a number of questions to the OPEB guys, and they're coming back with their answers.
Okay, because I'm assuming you have a CAFR extension until the end of this month.
Yes.
So they've got to wrap this thing up by Friday?
No, they've got a cap for extension until February 28th.
Oh, the GFOA gave him that long?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That being said, you know, we can move down the agenda because a couple of things I've asked Doug show up on the agenda anyway, so not to slow the meeting down. Comments from our first selectman, Anne Marie. I'm sorry. Anything you'd like to add into the meeting, or questions or whatever? She's on, but her mic is muted. I hope she hears us. Try it one more time. Anne Marie, do you have any comments for our board or questions? Okay, we'll pass over Anne Marie and come back to her once we see her sign on or her mic get unmuted. Transfer requests, we don't have any.
Bill, I'm in another meeting. Give me 1 minute and I'll be back on there.
Sure, okay, that's fine. While we're waiting for Anne Marie, the status of the $300,000 reimbursement, Doug, if you can tell our board what's going on with it.
Yeah, they filed the application in December 23rd. So that's up with the state. Currently, they're waiting on an audit date from the state. So the application is at the state audit department. And the department, from the time that they got the application, they have 6 months to audit it.
Okay. Now, is 300,000, how does 300,000 rate considering the entire magnitude of this claim? Is it possible we could get more?
Yeah, that's possible.
Or conversely, is it possible we would get cut?
That's possible too, yes. It depends on if they come up with some ineligible.
No, understood. I mean, at least it's up at the state and let them do their work, and hopefully we can hear something and get some cash and clear this reimbursement.
Yep.
Anybody got any questions on the reimbursement? I mean, it's the same stuff we've been waiting on, and at least now the claim is up in Hartford. Okay.
So can I just say one thing?
Sure.
You said that the application was submitted in December. Haven't we been discussing this for months prior to that? I'm just a little curious as to why it took so long to submit the application.
Sherry had all the stuff together, and she had a consultant back in the spring. Unfortunately, that consultant caught COVID. He was kind of an elderly man, and so he got pretty sick. the consultants they had. They were short on staff. They then found somebody to work on it in the summertime, and so that's kind of what the holdup was.
Okay, so it was I was just curious, you know, because I think since we have been discussing this for months, you know, for me, hearing that it was submitted in December, you know, when it probably should have, you know, been submitted already. But yeah, I just wanted to know what the delay was. Thank you.
Sure.
Realistically, from my perspective, what I've experienced with this claim, my guess is it should have gone in probably 2 years ago, but there was always a litany of issues. Can't find the records, too busy to do it. No, there was no hand steadying the ship on this. Finally, if it's done and it's up in Hartford, that's the best possible news. Now it's at the State Department of Ed. Let their guys in the building grants department go through it. And hopefully we hear some good news. Okay. Private duty owed to the town of Seymour. To me, this is an astonishing number. If I read this right, the town is owed $189,000, Doug?
That's correct.
Bill, on that number,
yeah, go ahead.
That number isn't correct. If you take the $391,701.65 and you subtract the $197,388.51, the number should be $194,313.14. The totals don't add up.
Okay, there's a five, and I did not check. Silly me. I thought that the Excel was accurate.
Bev, could you please repeat that number?
The number should be 190.
So we're $5,000 low?
We're $5,292.08 low.
What's a couple of dollars? Good gracious.
Doug, did you do this spreadsheet or did you get it from the department?
No, I got it from the police department.
Did you check it when you got it?
I came over as a PDF. No, I didn't go through all the math.
For future reference, before we get something, please do.
Wow.
So whether it's 194, 189, or some combination of numbers, this is an astonishingly big amount of money. Did you get a chance, Doug, as I had asked in my email, to get hold of the chief and to get hold of the assistant that handles this?
Yeah, I talked to her, and she has contacted Lewis Tree, and they have a payment that should be coming this week. And as far as B&W paving, they said that the town owes them $82,000. So we have to kind of figure out, you know, pay our bills, and then they'll turn around and pay us back.
Is what they're saying we owe them correct?
Well, that's what I have to find out. I have to talk to Tony tomorrow.
Okay.
Question?
Let me know the outcome of this.
Sure.
Because we're sitting on a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
Question, Bill?
Betty Ann?
Where do I find...
Yeah, no, go ahead. Now we can hear you.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm going to be as transparent as possible. I had my headphones plugged in. So I was sitting there talking to myself.
Whoops. Oh, all right.
It's always the easiest
answer.
Always the easiest answer. So for this easy question for Doug, where do I see in all of my reports that we get that we owe an invoice to someone? I'm missing something. If we owe them, what did you say that we owe them? Doug, you mentioned we owe somebody money.
We don't have a vendor list, Betty Ann. We don't have a list of payables that the town owes. I mean, that list is extensive.
So although still feeling new, this would be really nice since these are 6 and 7 months old. COVID or no COVID, I still got to pay my mortgage. So just curious.
And Doug, one,
Yeah.
one other thing.
Uh-huh.
On a go forward, including this invoice, I want this broken down into what companies owe us, because they've got about 15 or 25 lines or 30 lines of Eversource scattered. They've got things like Frontier Communications are scattered all over the place. And quite honestly, I'm sure you're familiar with what an accounts receivable aging report looks like.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I want one for this every month. And I don't care who's got to do it. And if you need me to call the chief's office, I will. But this is a nice list, but we don't know by company what's current, what's not current. 0 to 30 days, 31 to 60, 60 to 90, 90 plus. So I want this list busted down by company. So it should tie out to the ending balance of 194,000 or whatever it is. But I would like to get that as soon as possible, because it's absolutely ridiculous that the town is acting as a bank for all these businesses.
And that was kind of my piggyback question. They're saying they won't pay us till we pay them. This is really happening.
I'm assuming I assume that's what they're saying.
Right,
if we want, we can talk to the police commissioners and have this as a cash basis only. That if somebody wants to have a job done by the police, they'll have to pay cash right up front. Then we don't have to worry about any of this kind of stuff.
Well, I would think that when you're dealing with a company like Eversource or one of the big operations, for all intents and purposes, they do this everywhere and through Connecticut and New England. So I'm not as worried about, the Eversources of the world as I am about the private other companies, ABC Paving Company, XYZ Company, whatever, that, here, some of them could be here today, gone tomorrow. And I'd like to make a suggestion that anybody that wants to do business with the town can put up, either a line of credit or a bond for the estimated amount of, business they're going to do. And if it's not, if they don't pay us within, I don't know, 90 days, 120 days, 180 days, whatever, we can call on the bond.
Okay.
Because, I think if we were to say to a company, again, depending upon how much notice, if the trucks pull in and have an emergency repair, no lineman's going to get out of an electric truck with a wad of cash and pay somebody to, do traffic. That just won't happen. But I do think if we can make some arrangement with the bigger companies, and for the little companies, starting off with a letter that, we're expecting to get our costs fronted. If there's a difference in what you guys have to pay us versus what you've paid us in advance, we'll send you back a check. We'll give you a refund for the difference. Or if it's, you haven't paid us enough, we'll send you an extra bill. But I know utility companies do that for construction work and developments and things. And because I've seen it, I've been involved in it. And, a developer comes in, okay, we're expecting you're going to put up X dollars, and, we'll do our work. And if it, at the end, when we square up, it's, you can owe us or we'll owe you. But I think we cannot afford to sit on, let's say, $200,000 worth of money that the town is owed. That's absolutely ridiculous. So
Bill, I have a question.
However that can get accomplished. Yeah. Go ahead, Jim.
Is the police department directly responsible to collect these bills?
I would probably say No, but it's always been the custom that my guess is that the bills have gone out from there, the checks have come into there, and they're dropped over at town hall. Is my guess right, Doug?
Yeah, the police department is the one that does the collections on this. They're the ones that do all the collections on these bills. Once they collect the cash or the checks, then they bring it over to us and we deposit it.
And then,
Would it be?
I'm
would it be
wondering if
possible-
that shouldn't change to where
I can go back and pull up the emails in a minute.
I missed that piece of it. Sorry, Jim.
No, after 90 days, could the town attorney send a letter to certain people just to kind of boost them? You know, Eversource
I'm
probably will
open to
pay late.
anything that takes $200,000 of money.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm open to anything that puts cash in this town's pocket. We're owed $195,000 by, you know, however many contractors are on this list. That's a lot of money. And quite honestly, if we're getting strung out by contractors, then, you know, absent the Eversource and those type that have to come in to do work because they're public utilities, absent that, I don't know. But I do think it might be better, or just at least try it, that the town finance department collects the money, because they can stay on top of it. They can pick up the phone and keep calling. I mean, it's a new thing to institute on the town, but if you let the vendors know at this point going forward, here's what you're going to have to do, and here's who you're going to have to send the checks to, because the police department's not a collection agency. They got a few other things they got to do. And since finance is handling the books, let's call it, I don't have any problem with the finance department taking over the job. Betty Ann, you had a question, or were you just kind of?
No, I have a lot of questions.
Go ahead.
Just gonna, after that I'm gonna go on mute, or the host can mute. This question was asked 13 months ago when I visited before I was elected, brought in and sworn in. We had the same issues a year ago. And I asked the question, what is our procedure for vendors to get the job? We have a procedure. I get a cable bill. I know that it's due on a certain period of time in the month. This is simple stuff. And it's a ton of money. It's a lot of money. It's more than it was, and it was a lot of money back then. I would like to see the procedure that they are told. If you want a police officer, what's the procedure? You don't have to pay it for 6 or 7 months, so just let us know. We just don't have, I'd like to see the procedure. I'd like to see what the requirements are by the billing cycle. As the Board of Finance, I don't even know how this stuff is processed. And I asked who sent out the delinquent notices 12 months ago. And believe me, I will go through and pour every minute that I have printed to find out if that answer ever came up. We need a procedure.
It's all done by the police department. If we want to have the police department join the call, maybe even a Monday night, I can ask Paul about it, and he can go through the procedure with you. And as far as my department taking it over, I don't have a problem with that, but we really don't have the resources to do it. We'll have to hire somebody.
It's that strenuous of a task.
Well, like you said, it's $200,000.
You go ahead,
dollars.
I think I heard
a lot of people, and we're not exactly sitting around on our hands here. There's only 3 of us.
Hey, Bill, I had a question for you. Where does this show up on the general revenues? What account?
It's not in the general well, wait a minute. Police admin is in the general revenues.
Where is it?
Under police admin fees. It's account number 100 350.
I see it. Yeah. Okay. So far this year, we've only collected $24,960.
Correct.
Last year? That's since July 1st, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So, I'd like to say I agree with
I think the bottom line on all of this, quite honestly, is yeah, we need to know the procedure. And B, I think it's time we get away from, it's always been done that way, because that's not necessarily the most efficient and the most practical. And we're sure seeing that it's really not working. I would like to think that once the finance office would get into a routine with something like this, I don't think it's insurmountable that it can't be done. It's got to have some order and some logic to it. But I think the finance department's job is to look out for the financial interests of the town of Seymour. I mean, that's my understanding of this throughout the years. And we can't play a bank to the tune of almost 200 grand for various vendors. I get the Eversource, and I'm guessing they're on some sort of payment cycle when they cut their checks and whatever. But all of the other little small contractors, we don't have the resources as a town to function as a bank for them. So I would like to think that some kind of procedures, policies, or whatever, doesn't have to be extensive. You don't need 20 people to do it. But something's got to be drawn up. I'll direct my request to the finance office to get something that is palatable to you guys in finance. But clearly this number was what, at about 104,000 or something some few months ago, like the end of the fiscal, and now it's ballooned. And God knows what it could be next month.
And are we getting interest?
We just can't afford it.
Are we getting interest on this money? When I have a bill that's late,
I doubt it.
Paid a fee.
No.
Well, then I might wait on my
municipalities don't bill interest other than on property taxes usually. But I think the general concept of this is we've got to improve collections on this. We have to. I mean, I understand there's always going to be some money owed, but not this. And as I said, for my money, the police department's got other stuff to do than this. And I think it falls to the town finance department, because that's who should watch over things. Getting paid to do it, that's all part of maintaining the general ledger, keeping the cash flow going, knowing what's coming in, knowing what's going out, to be able to pay bills.
Added to the ledger.
The finance department does not do tax collections, though, so maybe this is for the tax collector.
Well, this is revenue. I mean, it's not revenue.
This isn't tax, Doug. This is revenue. Correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So why are we bringing the tax collector into this?
Because she does the collections. That's why. For
taxes, she does the collections, not for revenue.
But I'm just telling you, we just don't have the time to be doing all this, making all the phone calls and doing all the billing and all that kind of stuff. We just don't have the people to do it.
All right. Question. So the police, here's a question, Doug. Does the do the police pay those bills? Yes.
The police pay the bills?
No.
I mean, collect.
They do the collections, yes.
All right, so then we can make it simple and just have a quick discussion with them. But I still want to know, in writing, a procedure. And if they're late, do we institute a late fee 30 days out? This has been going on for this stuff is
so
for a long time.
I think the best way to look at this is, Doug, if you want to talk to the chief and the deputy chief and the admin person over at the PD to come to some sort of solution and put some procedure together that we as the board, as well as the First Selectman's office, can see, and we then stick to it. It ain't hard, but if we don't do it, God knows where this number is going to go. And, you know, that just hurts the town of Seymour. So, you know, we can debate this all night, but I think, Doug, you get where we're coming from. Rich?
Okay.
I think you're raising your hand.
Make a quick suggestion that
are you? Yeah, go ahead, Rich.
Necessarily, the finance department doesn't necessarily have to take over this whole entire thing. However, I think that there should be some finance department oversight, coordinating every month with the police department to get these collections in the works. You know, I mean, it's just an oversight thing that I think really needs to happen. I mean, has there been any oversight throughout this whole process at all from the finance department? Or is it just you get this report once or twice a year and that's it? I mean, Doug, are you on top of the police department every month or two to make sure that their process is running smoothly so the collections happen?
No, that's all up to the police department. It has nothing to do with us.
Okay, so maybe the amicable solution into this then would be to have the finance department start oversight. Department to make sure that this gets facilitated smoothly.
Anne Marie, looks like you have your hand up. Or trying to get, okay, go ahead.
So this is because this is often private duty. This isn't like a contractor. This is just private duty jobs that the contractors did not pay for, correct?
Right.
Correct.
So that doesn't fall on the chief. That falls on the, there was two admins. So tomorrow when I get into the office, I will sit down, Doug, if you're in the office, and we will call over there and we will speak to the administrative assistants that are over there as to see why they're not doing their job. And then we'll have Rory and Chris Pelosi put a procedure in place so that they are sending you an update every month as to what is going on and how they are handling it and where they are with collections, just like a regular account, just like a regular business. Yeah, so that's the other one. Receivables, you have your accounts payable. Where are we 30, 60, 90 days? Those are what the admin's jobs are for. That's not what Chief Zukowski's job is for, but that's what the admin's jobs are for.
Great. That sounds good.
Okay.
Right.
I do not.
It's up to the finance.
I don't disagree with that at all. And however it gets
days, it's up to Doug saying, Nadia, where are we? Or hey, you, where are we with the collections on this? Admin secretary number 2, where are we on this? This account is 60 days. This account is 90 days. This account is 120 days. Maybe those contractors no longer do business in Seymour and they can't do private duty. We do private duty work for them. They're going to have to hire flaggers, or they're going to have to come up with 50% down or whatever the job is going to be. We got to start looking at things like a business, not like a
Anne Marie's point,
where we have money to give away.
I couldn't agree more. And quite honestly, if there's an accommodation between admin and the town finance department and something gets worked out to make this thing function, that's fine. That's fine with me. But I will tell you, the ultimate responsibility for every dollar that comes into the town of Seymour rests with the finance department, whether it's through oversight or actively making the collections themselves in the phone calls. Doesn't matter how it's done, as long as it gets done. And that's the whole thing. And to Anne Marie's point, we got a $56 million business here, folks. $200,000 is a lot of money. And it's incumbent upon, if it comes to that the PD still administers the function, then there's got to be a whole bunch of oversight by the finance office, whether it's weekly, every 2 weeks or whatever, more than just, hey, at the end of the month, can you send me the list of what's owed? It's got to be an active participation, because the town can't sit on this money and just like, be a lender to everybody that's a vendor. And if it means contractors have to put up a percentage at the start, or they got to go hire their own flagman or whatever, okay, if that's how it works out. But we've got to make sure this town gets out of the position that it's in. And that's the long and the short of it. I think everybody's on the same page and agrees. And yes, let's see what we can do. Betty Ann?
Yeah. Are we allowed to charge interest on late payments? You hire the police, 30 days later, you hire them again. They haven't paid their first bill. 60 days later, they've got another emergency. There's got to be some retribution on these late payments.
I think that's a question for town council in terms of the ability of a town to charge interest. I think that's more of a town council question, quite honestly. Statutorily, if you're late with your property taxes, it's built in state statute. It says, yes, you can charge interest, up to 1.5% a month.
Perfect.
Fees for private services, that may be another aspect of it, but we probably want to get clarity from the town council, because if they say, yeah, go ahead, and we've got a deadbeat contractor that's out 60 or 90 days, why not?
I mean, I'm all for it. I know they go through the police department. The police department watches their back, and we want that, but we have to get paid.
Yeah, no, we're not. That's it. And like any business, it's like, I don't know if that's necessary, Emery, but I would ask him, just to get his take on it. So I think Anne Marie's suggestion on Doug and she, and talking to the chief and the admin assistant and Chris, putting something together to get this thing on the right track, that's a step in the right direction. And hopefully everything works out. I'd like to see whatever agreement or policies put together for the board, just so we can take a look at it. And if the finance office's oversight is paramount, because they're responsible for the finances of the town of Seymour. Doesn't rest with the police department, public works, building department, or anybody else. Okay. New business. Anybody have any? I can tell you I don't.
I got something.
Not that. Go ahead, Rich.
If I may, I just put together a few thoughts in regards to this year's budget process. With the whole thing up on Monday, our first. So, I mean, this year, as everybody knows, this has been an extremely difficult year financially for a lot of people in our town due to the pandemic. We've had a lot of families that have been struggling more than ever, pretty much, to make ends meet due to business closed, work schedule, modified, lost wages, layoffs. So with all of that and the situation that we are in, I just want to kind of make it very clear that under no circumstances this year will I even consider departmental wish lists, and I will not consider any departmental budget increases beyond contractual and basic operating expenses coming from just a member of this board. Our departments have been able to make it work with what they have now, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to be able to make it work for one more year. And, I'm not saying this to be the bad guy or anything. I fully understand that there's certain items that need to be replaced and supplies need to be replenished and all that other stuff. However, I think that it is imperative for our town, how break might be, the members of the, and it shows that when everything to bring meaningful financial relief to them during this difficult and unprecedented time. And hopefully next year we can better accommodate our departments with some of their larger requests based on the current and ongoing situation. This is not really the year to do that. So I am asking all of my colleagues here on this board to do the same and join me in pledging to set a goal to decrease our mill rate and decrease the financial burden on our taxpayers this year. And it's apparent based on what I've been reading and some of the things that I've been seeing coming out of Hartford that the state of Connecticut's not really going to be too much help this year, as they're already talking about tolls again. They're talking about new taxes that are going into effect. We already have the new paycheck deduction for family medical leave. You know, so I feel that it's my duty, citizen, taxpayer, and a member of this board to kind of do my part and offset this burden to the best of my ability. I don't know how you all feel about it. But I'm also, you know, I'd like to ask our dedicated team of department heads and all the boards in our town that's going to be submitting budgets to also kind of join me in this by only submitting budgets that's not going to include anything above what's necessary to operate at level services. And I believe that, you know, together we can all make a difference and bring some degree of financial relief to those who need it more than ever. And together, hopefully, we can all navigate safely through this pandemic, because I'm proud to belong to a community of caring individuals. And we all seem to step up when things start getting tough. And I think that this is one of those times where I believe that we need to step up as a board to do our part. Thank you.
I think you're muted.
Okay. I hope I think I'm unmuted, correct?
You are now.
Can people hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Thanks. No, thank you for the campaign speech. I think everybody on this board understands what's going out on the real world. Okay. I mean, people are getting hit, small town like ours, people have lost jobs. They've got problems with their mortgages, everything else in the world. And I don't think anybody here is looking at, wow, this is the year that jack stuff up. That's unrealistic and it shouldn't happen. I think we've got to, whatever the budgets are that we get, we've got to take a look at them and in the light of what's presented to us. Now, I'm hoping, as Rich is and everybody else, that we don't see something totally egregious, you know, something that just doesn't make any sense this time of year. And we take a look at these things department by department, not in an adversarial way that, you know, some department head walks through the door and, you know, immediately becomes, well, you're trying to take advantage of this town. Confrontational doesn't work. But I think we've got to try to take an objective view. One of the things we don't know, which is the variable. Doug, do we have any idea on the valuation or the reval, whatever you want to phrase it at, of what the base is scheduled to be?
No, he hasn't given a percentage yet. It's going to be filed at the end of the month.
Oh, so it'll be by the 31st?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, that is going to be a big driver because in any reval year, what usually will happen is the tax base goes up and there is some decline in the mill rate. We have no idea at this point, overall cumulative, will that happen? I mean, it could work inversely that the tax base goes down. Does that mean the mill rate has to go up to have level services? At this point, no one knows. And I think it's something we got to wait on to see the numbers, quite honestly. It's not like other years when there's no reval, we know there's nothing else out there other than the regular mill rate we've got, which we've held for 5 years, which is a good thing. But the regular mill rate against the tax list, and you know, okay, how much of a pot of money we've got. I agree with Rich. I don't think and I have no advanced knowledge, but my guess is the state funding and the help to the towns is not going to be a big jump, if any. It may be somewhat of a decrease, but we're sitting at January, and I don't think the state is into that arena yet of projecting municipal assistance. So we've got a lot of gray areas, and I think that the best way to approach this, we're going to get a budget. We're going to talk to a department head, ask questions. I would ask again that we do not appear confrontational or adversarial to them, because we're all on the same team. And ask any questions you want through the chair, and we'll accumulate responses and information. And then at the end of the day, we're going to be sitting down, because we have the workshop sessions at the end of after we talk to everybody. We're going to be sitting down and, okay, here's what we think on this department, that department, or whatever, to see how this shakes out. I mean, everybody's got contractual obligations. One of the things that a municipality can't do is it should try to avoid being stagnant. Fortunately, this town has not been, at least in the last 10 years that I've been around this place. But I think with everybody cooperating and working together, I think we'll come to let's call it an agreeable solution that the taxpayers will be accepting of, because we're here to protect their interests, and we're also here to make sure the town moves forward. So we're kind of doing this balancing act. But let's see what the numbers look like. We're going to be talking to the department heads. We're going to be talking to the first selectwoman, and we're going to take all this information into consideration, and away we go. I would ask, and obviously we're not meeting in person, so there is relatively no danger of having to cancel a meeting because of snow or ice.
Bummer.
So, because we're going to be doing this Zoom. So
I do have a question.
We'll be doing the Zoom meeting, so I think we'll stay on track.
In relation to how we in previous years, do we still do the town meeting in that? Is that still a thing or no?
That's going to be at the end of the cycle, as we did. I think it usually comes up somewhere around beginning part of April. My sense is if we're not anywhere past this virus, we're going to do something such as we're doing now. I mean, however, that can be jury rigged and Zoom wise and stuff like that. But yeah, we're still required to have the town meeting and all that, and then the people will vote on the budget, and that's the way it goes. Just as it's always done.
It worked well last year.
Hey, Bill, this is Rory.
Yeah. Hey, Rory.
The governor had a conference call last week where they were discussing, looking forward, what's going to be happening. And there was a brief mention of municipal budget processes. And basically the jury is still out. There will be some modifications to the normal procedure, but I don't think that they're going to allow municipalities to just have the Board of Finance sign off like we did last year. I think it'll go. It'll go.
Yeah, understood.
But the town meeting may still be conducted via Zoom. But when we have more definite information, we will let you know.
That's fine. Thank you. Yeah, and if everybody remembers last year that was involved, the Board of Finance was the budgetary authority for the town last year because of the virus. And then it went on to the First Selectman's Board of Selectmen and such. And to Rory's point, stay tuned, because, we're sitting in January, and I'm sure we're going to get updates to know the logistics of how we're going to do what we need to do. So just stay tuned. But Monday night at 7, we'll be kicking off our little meeting. Monica had sent an email out about the books that she's putting together.
Thank you, Monica.
The budget books. Yeah, nice job as always, Monica. So whether or not you're going to make arrangements to pick them up at town hall or pick them up at Monica's house, let her know, please. You don't have to tell me, where you're going to get them and how you're going to get them. Doug, what time is town hall close on Friday? Is it 1?
12 o'clock.
12 o'clock? Okay. That's fine. Yeah, so hopefully we have the materials. And that's the most I can say on this. Anybody else? Any kind of new business?
Doug had printed some all of this for me, because I'm sorry, I didn't have enough ink in my printer, and their budget's bigger than mine, so I did have them print the book that we have for our binder that is 4 inches thick. So if those packages, once they're submitted, can be made available for all the members. I know that planning and zoning drops off or snail mails the agendas and work to members of their committee. And I just want to say, you know what, no campaigns here, but this board is great. And when I entered this, there was only one stipulation that Bill, our chairman, made. We will give every department every dime that they need and every dime that they want, as long as we have it. So we're going to get through this. It's going to be great. And Bill, under your leadership, thank God you are here. That's all I can tell you. That's it.
Yeah, well, I can tell. Thank you for the compliment. But I can tell you, if I try to walk on water, I do get wet. So, that being said, but no, if we go into it being on the same team, we ask whatever questions we need to ask, we get the information, and then we're just gonna, as always, if we need to re-talk to a department, we're gonna re-talk to them again. The departments, and for anybody that's been on this board, and most all of you are veterans, it's to some degree of doing this, that, I think this board has a pretty good relationship with everybody we got to deal with. We've never been anything less than honest with people and the departments. We keep the First Selectman's office in the loop on everything, so that, nobody's getting surprised. So, I'm looking forward to a good process. And again, bring questions. All I ask is that you be respectful and professional with it and not confrontational, because, that's not right. Okay. Correspondence. No one writes me any letters. Anybody else get any mail? No? Okay.
Do we have any?
With that, the last part of the agenda. Ooh.
Hold on.
Go ahead, Rich.
Comments from the First Select Woman?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Ann. Marie, we skipped over you. You've been on the screen. So we'll go back up to item number 7. You're on.
It's very exciting to go through the budgets of the different departments, to start going through the budgets of the various departments before they come to you. I pretty much made them the same spew that I gave Rich, especially the police department. But there is one thing I want you all to take into consideration, is that we have this police accountability bill that was passed. There are some deadlines that the police department does have to hit, and there's some material they do have to buy by July of 2022. I just want to let you know and be aware of that. But otherwise, it's kind of fun sitting through the budgets and going through them with all and asking the questions and getting my little book as to why and who do you think you are to ask for that much money. But yeah, it is interesting. So I look forward to it.
Stay tuned. Glad you're aboard. But no, to Anne Marie's point, and I forgot about this, that accountability bill that was passed up in Hartford will cost every municipality some money. And that just comes into, I don't want to say a state mandate, but for a town to comply, there's going to be some money spent. It has to be.
Correct.
But again, you know, the extent of it, and we've got a little window, we can see what our needs are.
Right, and we have to spend the money. We have to buy in order to get the 30 or 33% back that we get of the total price. We only get 30% back. We have to purchase it in the first year. If we don't purchase it all in the first year, say it's the dash cams and the body cameras, and we need to purchase 44 of them for the cars, and we need to purchase 44 new vests or body cams. We can't purchase either one. We have to purchase them together in the first year. We have to purchase both of them together in the first year to get that 30% back. That is how it was explained to me. I, of course, want to do my own to make sure that that is true as to what the state mandate says as to how much the town will get back if we have to purchase everything the first year. And we have to use it, I believe he said, with town money. So, but just to give you a heads up on that.
I think one of the things, no, thank you. Much appreciated. I think in that regard, something to keep in mind, and I don't know if it can go through the capital plan and get it done, because much like we bought the fire truck 2 years ago, but you know, it's something we got to consider. It will cost money, and that's just kind of one of the little nuances we're going to be having to deal with this year. Hopefully there aren't too many of those though.
Correct.
Okay. Anything else, Anne Marie?
No, but thank you all for doing.
Yes, not. She muted her mic. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Much appreciated. Okay. Down to item 13. I'll turn it over to the professional in our group, Mr. Demko.
Motion.
Second, please.
Second.
Motion by Rich. Who else? Second
Betty
by
Ann.
Betty Ann. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
I didn't think so. Chair
Love you
votes
guys.
aye. See everybody on Monday.
Monday.
Stay safe.
Yay, Grace, what are you doing? Bye,
Good night.
guys.
Bye.